everyone. Thank you for listening to the Dr. Regina Hernandez Show. I am Dr. Regina Hernandez, and the purpose of this podcast is to provide a platform to support teachers and engage community members in authentic dialogue about public education. This episode is about the importance of social and emotional learning of students in public schools. To discuss this topic, I have Miss MariCarmen Aguilera as the guest for this episode. Miss MariCarmen Aguilera is an educator with 9 years of experience in education in the Dallas area and currently working in the San Antonio area.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm so excited to do this. After my experience the past 2 weeks, I was the summer school site administrator for a middle school, and I just thought that social emotional wellness would actually be a better topic to talk about.
Perfect.
So I've been in San Antonio for the past year, but most of my experience comes from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I was up there for about 9 years and worked with Dallas ISD, Uplift Education, and Irving. And when I worked with Uplift Education, which is a charter school in the DFW area, I had the opportunity to go to some amazing professional development. And one of the professional developments that I attended was actually at the Momentis Institute.
Okay. And
the Momentis Institute is actually in Dallas. They have an elementary school. It's a Title I school. It's pre-K. I want to say pre-K all the way through 5th grade. That's it. And their students, their curriculum is solely based like social emotional wellness and ensuring that the kids have the appropriate tools to be successful in life.
That's so important, especially for everyone, but that population, which is known for being at risk. Most of the kids are at risk for, just dangerous situations, life situations. So how does it help them?
It gives them the proper tools in order to be successful, whether it's being persistent, being able to cool down in a situation when things are getting, when they start getting heated, being able to identify certain behaviors so that they can take a moment and be more self-reflective. So after going to the training, my campus actually instilled some of the practices at our campuses. So instead of having kids sit out, they actually had a think area where they had warm fuzzy balls. They had a glitter ball that they would actually shake and watch the glitter come down, and they would actually calm down. They would just have a cool down area, and when they were ready to come back to class, they could come back to class, and be part of their classroom. I mean, they were not separated. Right. It wasn't outside of the classroom. It was within. It was just a little area of the classroom that they knew, hey, I feel myself getting upset, and I can go over there and take a moment and calm down before I make some poor choices. So a lot of it was just kind of pushing the kids to be more self-reflective and making their own choices. And a lot of the what I really liked actually was, instead of sending notes home and saying, oh, your child did this or made this poor choice or did that, we would have a conversation with the kids, and we would talk about what could we have done better? If we had to do this all over again, and somebody was bothering you, or you started to get upset, how could we have avoided the situation? Or you took these steps, you already calmed down, so it was really, really helpful. It was really great to see that.
How were the other teachers trained on this? Because that takes some expertise on being able to not lose your cool as a teacher and say, okay, and go straight into that punishment.
Exactly, the punishment mode.
Yeah.
So my principal, this was one of our big rocks. This was one of our main objectives for the school year, the social-emotional wellness. So she put a good chunk of her budget into our training, and we all attended the training, and we all had the expectations of implementing certain things. We couldn't implement everything because we were just learning. You have to take baby steps. So we had a school-wide color chart. It was a very positive thing. You say if a child made a poor choice, they would move their color clip down, but if they were improving their behavior, they can move it back up. You didn't stay at that certain color level the whole entire day because you had a bad morning. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes we just have a bad morning, but by lunchtime we've been able to shake it off and we're making better choices. So why are we still,
That's really it brings a lot of awareness, like self-awareness mm-hmm. of your mindset, like your attitude, what you're thinking, and how you can change it. Mm-hmm. That is so important to everyone, but especially again young people, so that they can grow up with these strategies to help them.
Yeah, and so my experience with that was at the elementary level.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm thinking is that it needs to be carried on through elementary through high school. We need to learn certain coping mechanisms so that we can be successful. If we see that we're getting stressed out in a situation, there should be a little area set aside so that I can cool down, I can calm down, and then I can join the class again, because I'm only disrupting my other colleagues, my other classmates.
Wow. Was it expensive?
I don't know the price,
yeah.
But I know that they have different programs. The Momentis Institute, it's in Dallas. Like, for instance, they have one program about the neuroscience of learning and the social-emotional health. They have another one that's called Relationships, the Key to Student Motivation and Engagement. There's also one called the Practical Strategies for Supporting Social and Emotional Development in All Students. There's one even for teacher stress and self-regulation, because that's working in a Title I school.
Yeah.
That's something that teachers don't really understand, the stress level that you're going to be under. It's a lot different from a non-Title I school.
Yeah. I do remember the district that I spent 10 years at. There was towards the end, a big push with the social emotional learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got really lost, even though there's high expectations, and teachers go to the our team meetings, and we are expected to put that in the I don't know, either advisory or within the lessons themselves, but it gets lost. But if it's
do you feel like it got lost because there were too many components that you were expected to instill?
I believe it got lost because it was very ambiguous. Okay. And it was kind of like the training wasn't the training was just putting some chocolate on the table and telling the teachers, okay, get out your laptops and let's start putting in some data about documenting what the kids were doing. Okay. And that's not social emotional learning.
No, it's not.
But thinking that we're documenting what we've done, I mean, they just want proof that it's being done. Mm-hmm. But actual strategies, like what you were just sharing off the top of your head about the globe,
the glitter
ball, that it just in my mind, that just already calms me down.
And belly breathing.
Yeah.
And then they had belly breathing. They taught the teachers, and we would teach our students how to belly breathe and taking deep breaths in and filling our tummies with air and then letting it out slowly and counting and doing that several times. We would hold hands, with another student or, and just kind of raise our hands up and breathe, raise them up in the air as we took a deep breath and then bring them back down, as we were letting the air out. And it's, mindful things like that change the trajectory of your class.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But what I noticed was that I was only at an elementary campus. I just thought with my last experience just, a couple weeks ago doing, finishing up summer school, how necessary it is to have it in middle school and then, of course, high school. You just want to give our kids, the proper tools to be successful.
In life.
Because we can't explode at our boss. We can't, lose our cool. We can't storm off. If we storm off from a situation, we're breaking relationships. We might be hindering a job or losing a job. It's just... And then also, we have to put in their minds that we have to continue being reflective. And that's, it's okay to fail. And not to be angry at yourself for failing, but just to continue on and be persistent.
Using that, that experience of failing, but learning from it.
Yeah.
So and not to give up.
I think that's it's a hard concept for adults, but I think that's something that needs to be taught with kids. We can't just give up because we can't sound out the words, sound out the letters for a word. If we did that, then there would be so many of us that couldn't read. Mm-hmm. We just have to continue to be persistent. It's okay to fail, but you got to keep on trying. So, yeah, I just believe in social emotional wellness, and I think that it needs to be in all Title I schools, and I think that counselors... our counselors in the title, I can only say from the Title I schools that I worked in, because that's my only experience, that the majority of the counselors were pulled to do testing. So they didn't have the lessons in the classroom. They didn't do the school visits. They didn't do the lunch buddy, programs that are helpful, that help curtail a lot of the behavior issues. The only school that I ever had counselors actually be counselors was in Irving ISD. We had 2 full-time counselors, and they split the grade levels, and they were in the classrooms every other week doing lessons. They were pulling lunch buddies every day. And I can tell you the behavior at that school, and it was a Title I school, was amazing. We didn't have the behavior issues.
Yeah. Thank you, MariCarmen, for sharing your ideas and experiences with social and emotional learning in public schools. Our discussion affirmed our knowing that students and teachers benefit from social and emotional learning at Title I schools, but we were still left to wonder about how to vertically align the curriculum for both middle school and high schools to ensure that there is validity and reliability in this investment. We were also concerned with the hiring practices of teachers at Title I schools because of the high level of stress at these campuses. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join us. To send topic suggestions, or if you want to be a guest on the show to share your ideas about important topics in public education, email me at reginahernandezconsulting@gmail.com. And feel free to check out my website at www.reginahernandezconsulting.com to learn more about my services as an education consultant.